published, 10/11 EDT, the 23rd of April 2018, updated, 12/25 EDT, the 23rd of April 2018. The anniversary of the death of Stephen Lawrence is to be marked on April 22 each year by a national commemoration of his life and legacy, to be known as Stephen Lawrence Day. Theresa May has announced. The commemorative day was announced by the Prime Minister at a memorial service marking the 25th anniversary of Stephen's murder. Prince Harry and his fiancée Meghan Markle arrived hand in hand at the event and spoke with Stephen's mother Doreen Lawrence, now a peer sitting in the Lords, and her son Stuart. The Prince brought a message of support on behalf of the Prince of Wales, who in 2000 gave the annual Stephen Lawrence Memorial Lecture, which began with a tribute to the Lawrence family. Doreen Lawrence greets Meghan and Harry on the steps of St. Martin-in-the-Fields as a memorial service is held in memory of her son Stephen. Doreen Lawrence speaks at the service 25 years and one day after his son's murder, and Sir Lenny Henry also spoke to the congregation about Stephen's legacy. The royal couple, who will marry in Windsor next month, arrived hours after his brother William had his third child. Prince Harry and his fiancée Meghan Markle have arrived at the memorial service marking 25th anniversary of the racist murder of Stephen Lawrence. Prince Harry spoke at the event at St. Martin-in-the-Fields in Trafalgar Square. Harry told the congregation, "My father is very sorry not to be able to make it here, so I am going to read some remarks on his behalf. It hardly seems possible that 25 years have passed since Stephen Lawrence was so cruelly taken from his family. I remember vividly the profound shock that I felt at his senseless murder, a feeling shared by so many people across this country and beyond. I remember, too, just how deeply moved I was by the determination of Stephen's family to build something positive from the tragedy they endured and to ensure that Stephen's story did not end with despair, but continued with hope. A quarter of a century later, we can only imagine the man who Stephen would have become, and just how his extraordinary potential might have been fulfilled." Harry added that the teenager's family had honored him with everything they had done in his name and the changes they have brought about. Prince Harry and his fiancée Meghan Markle arrive for the service in memory of Stephen today. Harry and Meghan are representing the royal family at today's service in central London. The Prince and Ms. Markle emerge from the church after the service, at which Harry spoke. The royal couple spoke to Stephen's mother Doreen before the service this afternoon. Stephen's father Neville Lawrence and his mother Doreen arrive for the service this afternoon. Stephen Lawrence, an 18-year-old student, was fatally stabbed by a gang of racists in Eltham, southeast London, on April 22, 1993. The murder was a watershed moment in modern race relations in the UK after the subsequent Macpherson report concluded the police made mistakes and were guilty of institutional racism. During Monday's service, Mrs. May gave a scripture reading and Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn read an extract from Nelson Mandela's Long Walk to Freedom. Mrs. May added, "For the past 25 years, Doreen and Neville have fought heroically to ensure that their son's life and death will never be forgotten. Their dignity, their courage and their sheer determination are an inspiration to us all. We are privileged to be here today at this special final anniversary service to commemorate Stephen. But it is right that Stephen's name and legacy lives on. In the run-up to this service, I have spoken with Baroness Lawrence about how best to achieve this. And so, today, with Baroness Lawrence's blessing, I can announce that the government will work with the Stephen Lawrence Charitable Trust to establish a national, annual commemoration of Stephen's life and legacy, to take place on the 22nd of April each year, Stephen Lawrence Day. We will use this day to encourage and support young people in achieving their dreams, and to reflect on Stephen's life, death and the positive change he has inspired." The Prime Minister announced April 22 will be now known as Stephen Lawrence Day. Baroness Lawrence, Wright, and her son Stuart with Prime Minister Theresa May before the memorial service. Stephen Lawrence's brother Stuart Lawrence spoke to guests at the memorial service today. Political leaders stand with Stephen's family outside the church following today's service, as well as a church choir. Musician Beverly Knight performed at the memorial event. The church, which sits on Trafalgar Square, was full for the service this afternoon. Baroness Lawrence said, I'd like to thank the Prime Minister for her announcement today that the government will work with the Stephen Lawrence Charitable Trust to establish a Stephen Lawrence Day to take place every year on the 22nd of April. I feel honoured she has recognised the changes that have been made in Stephen's name and the changes that are still needed. This 25th anniversary is a moment for the country to come together, to remember Stephen, and, going forward, the 22nd of April will provide that focal point every year. Stephen was denied his voice, but the Stephen Lawrence Day will be an opportunity for young people to use their voices and should be embedded in our education and wider system regardless of the government of the day. I look forward to working with the government to deliver the first day on April 22, 2019. Baroness Lawrence, right, and her son Stuart, with Metropolitan Police Commissioner Cressida Dick, second right, and Assistant Commissioner Patrika Gallen, London Mayor Sadiq Khan and former Labour Home Secretary David Blunkett arrive at St Martin in the Fields Church near Trafalgar Square reacting to the announcement of a National Stephen Lawrence Day. The murdered teenager's father, Neville, said, "That is one of the best things I have heard for years. I think I will sleep peacefully in my bed tonight. We have got some justice, and now this is like a mark of what we have been trying to do for years. Our son's memory is going to be enshrined in history." He added that it was also a reminder to other parents to not just sit back and take no for an answer. She also thanked those who had helped her achieve all she has, and said that after 25 years it is time to draw a line. Singer Beverly Knight sang at the service, captivating the congregation with renditions of Fallen Soldier and A Change Is Gonna Come. Two of the group of up to 6 thugs who attacked Stephen and his friend Duane Brooks, simply because they were black, have been convicted of murder. David Norris and Gary Dobson are serving life sentences. 3 other men who have consistently been accused of the killing but never been convicted are Jamie Accourt, 41, from Bexley, his brother Neil Accourt, 42, who uses his mother's maiden name Stuart, and Luke Knight, 41, both from Eltham. Mr. Lawrence, 76, announced last week he had made the humbling decision to forgive his son's killers. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn was among the dignitaries who attended the event today. London Mayor Sadiq Khan was among the speakers at the event in London this afternoon.